My name's Matt. I'll be leading the burn.
Jessica. I'm Bridget. I'm the SNA crew.
I'm Jared.
Bill.
Paul.
Matt. Paul. Dennis. Greg.
Aaron.
Nate.
Alex.
Adam.
Okay, and to go over some things before I start doing kind of the game plan for the bigger game plan for the burn, I'll try to let you know which line you're going to be on, so when I'm going through you can be thinking about what you're doing. And then we'll break up into your respective lines and they'll give you detailed instructions from that point on. So just general things, we did, all the phone calls are made, so we should be good to go there, although I did try the kettles earlier and the office wasn't open yet. So
They know about
they
it.
do know, okay. I just took weather up here on top of the ridge in the sun. We had two kestrels out. Wind speed was 3 or 4, gust 11. Temperature about 67. Humidity between 34 and 40. So down there where we're going to start, we won't feel the wind as much as we by the wetlands. So it'll be a little bit lower, and I'll take it down there. But the forecasted wind is southwest all day. So if you look at your maps, if you orient yourself on the maps, which I have over here, southwest all day. They're calling for maximum temp of 75, maximum winds, 20-foot winds, 11 to 13. Humidity is going to bottom out somewhere in the mid to upper 30s. So we're pretty close to that already. So it's probably going to at least hit mid, if not get into the lower 30s. So that's great. That's great. Our funded fuel moisture is at worst it's a 7, and so that's easy, not an issue. We got great transport winds. We should have great lift today. A low Haynes index, which is like a kind of a fire risk, so low. So we should be in really good shape today as far as the weather goes. Let me see. Let me just go through the kind of the non-detailed. Oh, here it is. The non-kind of detailed stuff here. Okay, if you need to know it, I can give you the burn number. Some people need it for IQS. So the burn number is, when you're ready, 6813 000 2013. 454 acres.
6813 0002013.
Yep, 6813-000-2013. Phone calls are made. So, I guess that's weather and kind of the initial stuff. So when we're talking about the burn, I guess we might as well jump right into it then. Can everybody see this okay? This might help if we're all looking at this. So we're up here at the gas line. So if you notice on your map, transmission line is delineated, Ice Age Trail is delineated in white and black, horse trail is this dotted line. We're actually on a horse trail right now up at the gas line. So we're actually, our corner of our burn unit's up that way. All these points on your map are also delineated on the ground. So if you're wondering where you're at, you should be able to find that bright orange pink flag and it should be delineated there as well. Basically, since we have a southwest wind, all these fields on the north side are all disced up fields. This stretch here is a really closely cropped, now greened up pasture right here with a great access. And then this stuff down here is where we're going to start, and I'll talk about that in a minute. So just so when you're thinking about where you're going to be today, or as I talk about kind of the approach, we're basically going to have like a north line and a south line. Nate Farum is going to lead the north line. So basically that's just going to be from this line coming all the way around to I, which is Lone Tree Bluff. And then Jared Urban is going to lead the south line, which is basically the horse trail all the way across to Lone Tree Bluff. They're going to be your line bosses. When we break up, they'll give you your assignments. Most of us, when we start, are going to be working together to put in this bottom. And the bottom's going to be slow. I warn you right now. It's cool season grass over here. It's really wet and kind of shrubby over here. And then we got a pretty steep slope over here on the oak wood. So we can't really proceed until this whole site is really anchored. And Jared's going to assign somebody eventually to kind of basically watch that while we move forward. So here's how the kind of the big picture where the burn's going to run. Again, we're all going to anchor this. All of us except probably Adam and Nate and Jess, they'll be over here. The rest of us will be down here anchoring this line. So we got to anchor again from B to A before anybody proceeds. Once that's anchored, then we're going to kind of go into the next phase, and that's going to be a go. At that point, Jared, especially deciding how fast he wants to go, he can take off on that south line. So we're saying this area where the wind's pushing to, where we have our greatest whisk because we don't have the crop fields, that's got to be solid. Once that's solid, we're taking off. We're going to boogie. So Jared's going to come down this line. When I say go, there's two things that are going to happen on the north line. Alex, who's going to be over here working with us, he's going to take off and take this whole field, whole line over here to C, and Adam's going to anchor this corner, and he's going to come around this way. So when I say go, we're basically going to have three lines lighting at the same time. And so these guys are going to basically get this whole north end blackened out. So by the time anything makes it over here from the north end, it's going to be long black. They're going to be way ahead of you guys, so they'll be burned out. And with all this kettle topography, it would take forever to get over there anyways. So this will be black. Well, these guys are still coming, but we're all going to start at the same time. There's no need to wait. I'm not going to go into the details, but we'll let Nate figure out. But basically what's going to happen is Alex is going to burn this out, then he's going to come along the creek. And we have two issues here that complicate the burn. One is the power line. So we have the power line coming through it, so we can't set the poles on fire. We can't set big flames at the wires in case they get big enough and we actually don't want to be lapping those wires. The other one is the creek. So we need to make sure, A, there's no fishermen. B, we have queen snake here. So the protocol for queen snake is basically you have to light along the creek because that's where they hang out. So they'll go into the creek when you're walking by. And it's basically the same thing for blandings. So we have to light along the creek. We can't just rip a head fire at it. So Alex is going to come through here. He's going to time this kind of wet stuff, and then he's going to come to the creek, come along the creek, and then he's going to take the power line corridor, lighten the power line corridor up this way. At the same time he's doing that, Adam, again, the wind's pushing this way. He's going to blacken this corner, going to come around here, get this pole, and then light around here because Alex is gone by that point. He's gone and moved up the trail. Then Adam's got to come around here, light around the stream, and he's going to come all the way around on the south side of the stream all the way to this point. As soon as Adam's clear, Nate and Jess are going to anchor the north side of the stream. So you got to know who's in front of you. You got to know who you're sending fire with, and you got to communicate with those guys. So Adam, you can't come around this corner until you know Alex is clear. Jess and Nate can't go until they know Adam's clear. And then Adam, by the time you get over here, hopefully Jess and Nate will be done. That'll be burned out, and then you're just trying to light over here. And then Adam and Nate and Jess, mostly Nate and Jess, are going to basically tie from here all the way around to Lone Tree Bluff. And Nate will cover those details when you guys meet. Jared, when Jared's ready, he's going to send Greg Kidd up the Ice Age Trail, lighting on the north side of the trail. So Greg needs to coordinate with Alex, make sure they don't send fire at each other with, irresponsibly. And then they'll come together and they'll end up joining Jared's line on the south line. So Jared will be lighting here. He'll have a pumper truck and an ATV, and we got plenty of gear. So I think we ended up with 6 ATVs and 3 pumper trucks. So Jared's going to be flying through here, and he'll probably be shedding guys along the whole way. So we're going to light, especially if it's pulling in, we're going to light and drop guys along the way, and Jared will cover all that. But we'll have a lot of guys on the south side. Most of the guys will be on the south side. Then theoretically, when this goes okay, we're going to end up tying off here by Lone Tree Bluff. In Lone Tree Bluff, we got benches, and we got signs, and we got a south-facing slope. So we'll work together. So Jared and Nate, then at that point, will be working together about how do we tie this off. Is it going to be really hot? Do we need a spot or whatever? So you really got to think about who you're meeting or who's in front of you. It's really important today. I'll try to coordinate, but it's a big burn. So if you hear one guy's trying to talk and the other guy's not receiving, help us out, relay. Hey Matt, I can hear you. I can relay for Dennis. So just be aware that's often an issue on these bigger burns. I'll probably be on the south line and up here on the top of the power line. So hopefully I can kind of at least be at the highest vantage point as far as communication, and I'll see what I can see. But once I go, it's really Nate leading this and Jared leading that. So that's kind of the big picture, all right? So we got to light along the creek and just think about who's in front of you. We don't want to communicate, but the other thing is no chatter. Try to keep the chatter to a minimum on the radios. Any questions at this point?
Where do we end up for torches?
We got a bunch. So we had our 6 plus the 1 bad one, and we grabbed 3 from Wildlife, and the Kettles guys brought 6 or 8. So we'll have lots of torches. So the main thing, again, especially for the wetland guys, don't run out of fuel out there in the middle of that wetland. All right, let me just go through my list, make sure I cover stuff. So we're gonna light under the power lines. We talked about that. We gotta light along the creek. We gotta anchor this end before we proceed. Details for the regular guys, the line bosses.
Hey Matt, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
Where are you going to have the fuel in case you run out of?
Well, I'll get to that. Great point. Let me run through this list quick.
We're not going to let you have a torch bomb because you go through it so fast.
Just beware, you guys, when you get to this point, a couple years ago when we did this, we were doing the burn, we found out somebody had a temporary turkey blind in there. So as you're lighting out that corner of that woods, just be looking for that. Maps are marked on the ground. Burn number, fence posts along fields, called the gas line. Northwest line, fence posts, parking lot. So Jess and Nate are going to figure out the northwest corner. Again, make sure you know where your food and drink is. When you leave here, make sure it's going to be somewhere where you can get to it. Okay, here's another one. If you don't know it already, this right below us, you can see right down there, it's like some kind of gas plant. They know we're burning here, it's not an issue. We could probably run a fire over it and it still wouldn't be an issue. So just so you know, we're well aware of that. Don't freak out about that.
There's a big gas line right underneath us.
And we're on top of the gas line right here.
Big gas line. There's that.
Oh yeah, so I mentioned, so we're going to be safe, but we're going to move along. So don't assume we got sunsets at 7. We want to get this thing lit. The other thing, especially the wetland guys, the fuels are going to be mixed. We have uplands, and we have wetlands. In wetlands, it could be sedge meadow, it could be reed canary, it could be cattail. So it's going to be really varied. We talked about that. Okay, and then safety zone, obviously, especially for the guys that are in the interior, know where your safety zone is. We got the egg fields on the north, we got the creek, jump in the creek if you have to, or know where your black is. And then the only other thing, 2 other things, we're talking about fuel stash and contingency. So, contingency, so again, everything's pushing this way. So if somehow if the fields start on fire, I think we're just screwed. At that point, if the fields start on fire, we're screwed. But theoretically, we got Highway 12. For me, again, our biggest risk is right over here, A to B. This right here, these grassy areas around this house, it's all really closely cropped, grazed, and green. So there's really not an issue here. We do have a pine plantation right here going up this slope. So that's an important one to watch. But then we'll have the Ice Age Trail as a potential backup. The horse trail that we drove in on is a potential backup. If it gets over here, you're looking at Highway 12 ultimately, but really you're looking at Kettle Moraine topography. So it's woods. It's not like it's an open field where it's going to run across it. So, does that make sense? Clear enough? Okay, fuel stash, we're going to leave that up to line bosses. So the guys, make sure you got enough fuel, but talk to your line bosses about making sure that the fuel is where you need it so you have it when you want it. Questions?
Just for whoever's going over, there's an ATV at the Bluff Creek parking lot that has 1 full drip torch on it, and the one that's at Lone Tree Bluff has 2 full drip torches on it.
Great point. Great point. Okay, so with that,
Can we start using letters instead of referring to things by names like Lone Tree Bluff and stuff?
Yeah.
Let's just start. Because half the people
Yeah.
here don't know that Lone
Good
Tree
point.
Bluff is Lone Tree Bluff.
I is Lone Tree Bluff. So, no questions, break up and meet with your line bosses, and then we need to get at least, Jared will cover this, 1 good ATV down here, if not 2, to help us tie in. And then as soon as Nate's done with his guys, you guys can take off whenever you're ready. Then we need to all motor down there and get down to that line and get that put in.